Welcome to another water cooler, virtual water cooler event. I'm just kicking off the go live in the Facebook group, the managers who lead. So look forward to you joining me there as well. Um, Come and have a chat. The link, I put a post on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn event. Um, it's really easy. Just click on that link. Best from a laptop, I think, but you can do it from a phone. Uh, Use your landscape view so they just it fills the screen better, and you'll be sent over through a browser to collect your video and audio, uh, standard sort of live streaming or Zoom type things, and then you'll show up in the green room and you can here live. Excuse me, just clearing my throat there. um Interesting week this week. Let's always start with a a follow up. Whiskey's joining me straight away. How are you doing, my friend?
I can't hear you.
Hello. He's gone. I think he's just waiting for the tech to catch up.
All right, now I can hear you. There you go.
I can't. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. There you go.
Oh, okay, you can hear me.
There you go. Good. Good.
Yeah,
Is that
getting
picture?
back home and having to reset up all my restream stuff. The usual.
So you is that picture from your cruise? That
It
backdrop,
is.
yeah.
I want you to know that my computer's a bit laggy, but this is the British Virgin Island of Tortola, as
Oh,
you
there
see.
he is.
But yeah, I'm back, Steve, and I have a fever now because a lot of traveling, not a lot of sleep.
Mm,
A lot of canceled flights. I ended up chauffeuring people around.
yeah.
Ended up sleeping in my car overnight, and it was like 30 degrees
Oh,
Fahrenheit. So I
oh
now
wow.
I'm running a fever, rocking
Mm.
up to the nines with a fever. So
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, hang in there. Yeah, I definitely want to hear all about your um, escapades on the cruise
yes, I
ship. You
learned
went
so
to
much
some
about
British
British
ladies.
people.
Yes.
Learned a lot of new words.
There you go. There you go. Well, we have a lot we have a lot of new words. I have something I want to add into the theme. I want to hear I definitely want to hear your journeys and your escapades. But something that's been you can probably relate to this as well. Something that's been on my mind, especially with I'm running the cohort group for the 12 week 12 week year. uh, Accountable action intensive is really the name for it, just to kind of keep away from upsetting the 12-week year folks. But essentially, one of the things that we were talking about this last week was um, the concept of mise en place, which is French for everything in its place. And if you've ever worked in a chef or um, kitchen, the term is used in that setting in terms of a chef's station is always set up a particular way,
Okay.
and everything is in its place. So whether it's your utensils, whether it's your ingredients, whether it's your cleaning supplies, the cookware, everything is in its place. And the concept is that it makes the process of preparing the dish or the recipe that much easier because everything's at hand. Um, and also along with that is the term that I came across ages ago actually, which is clear clear to neutral, which CTN. So the concept behind clear to neutral is to actually make sure that your space is cleared to a neutral state so that it's ready for use or operation again. So the two kind of terms floated together for me, and it's been an eye opener because it speaks to, and you're a veteran, so I'm sure some of these concepts in terms of um, order and things where they're supposed to be. are probably instilled in you
Our
in
saying
school.
was always ready, so that's the idea, always ready.
Yeah, yeah. And the concept of being always ready requires you to requires everything to be at hand. I mean, what does ready mean? And that becomes sort of a civilian challenge. I'm facing that challenge right now, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I don't have me. I'm developing mise en place, if you like. I'm trying to get um, more in tune with understanding that my space needs to be ready for whatever I need to do, and also clearing to neutral, which is important. Things aren't finished until you're ready to do it again. Just because just because you've made the meal and you got a stack of dirty dishes and the countertops are all over the place. That's no reason for you. That's no
Right.
Your meal isn't finished. Your
So
kitchen
you're
is
struggling with this concept because you don't have all your different hats within arm's reach to put on at any time during the virtual water cooler. Is that
well,
is that the issue?
the thing is mise en place in a kitchen setting is you can see it. If you're a chef walking into a kitchen, you can tell pretty quickly whether this kitchen is operating efficiently or is set up for efficient operation. You walk into a diner versus a Michelin star restaurant or kitchen, there's a difference, regardless of what they're making. Just things are set up, in a different mindset. It's not even a ma- it's not even a skill to acquire, but it's sort of a mindset to adopt. Um, so yeah, my hats aren't at arm's reach. Sometimes
Right.
sometimes things need to be put away, and some things need to be further than arm's reach because you don't want to go to them too often. That becomes
Mm.
the atomic habits thing.
Okay.
You
So
make
you keep your tassels locked up so that you're not wearing them every day, right? Because then it wouldn't be such a treat for us, you
it
know.
wouldn't be such a treat if I
But
could. Yeah.
I was gonna say in the military you have a couple different methods. So like the Circle X method is one where if you have to do maintenance, you have a list of procedural steps and you circle the one you're on, you read it aloud to the other person. Once it's completed, you exit out, right? And it helps you
Hmm.
keep track. And sometimes those procedures are literally just setting up the space to then perform the work.
Yes. Yes.
Certain things have to be created in an environment, especially when you're doing radioactive work. You have to set up mathematical calculations ahead of time to limit radiation exposure, right? You
Mm.
you create these certain working hours so that people are in these certain radioactive spaces for XYZ amount of time
Yeah.
doing ABC work. So I totally get it. And I agree, you go back to the kitchen and everything's still dirty from your last meal. It's like, oh, now you got to try to wash everything off as you're doing it.
Mm.
And it's funny, I was actually spending today cleaning up and unpacking because I got back from the cruise and I have the list of post-cruise follow-ups and things to do is
Yeah.
huge, but I cannot me personally, I don't wanna keep the house a wreck, have the, unpacked suitcase all over the place, and be working on that stuff and pushing it off. Like, I wanna
Mm.
set up an environment that is clean and efficient, I can get around the house easily, everything is where it needs to be, so that's my big goal right now is setting up, "Alright, I've got these emails, I've got these programs, I've got this," and then setting them up in an efficient manner. So what is, easiest and quickest to do or what should be done before something else. And that's something I've, working online with so many different things is sometimes, you get an email in the middle of doing something, then you go open that email and then you see another email, you go so it's sometimes I end up tab hopping a lot
Mm.
if you understand what I'm
Yep.
saying. And so trying to stay streamlined is that. And I know a lot of people that I worked with on the cruise, their specialty is setting up different workflows, whether AI assisted or just setting up certain workflow structures to streamline your efficiency. I
Mm.
mean, that's a huge thing. So that's what I'm working on right now post cruise to do all my post cruise work.
So there you
And I was
go.
talking about you 2 on the cruise actually, talking about British politics and flags and the virtual water cooler and knowing some British words. So
There you go.
both of you 2.
There you go. So yeah, that's cool. Pierre, welcome.
Hello, stranger. How are you?
I'm doing
Both of
well,
you.
doing
Haven't seen you
well.
for a while. Both of you.
Yes.
I
um,
haven't seen you, but I was telling people across the country all about you and the topics you brought up in this water cooler.
mm,
Oh, which
So
one?
about the flag, the whole there was 100 flags and they were tearing them down, and I was talking just about UK politics to some people in the sense that I feel like every country also tunes in on American politics.
yeah.
But America doesn't tune in on other countries' politics, really. If
Mm,
I went up to a stranger, I said, "Do you know what's going on in Ireland right now, or the UK, or Australia?" They'd be like, "Well, bloody hell if I know." But if I asked
bloody hell.
Steve Wright, "Do you know what's going on in America?" "Oh yeah, Trump did this, or there was that event, or something." Right? I
Yeah.
feel like America is pretty self-centered when it comes to politics. And the reason I think it's important is you look at some of the stuff happening in the UK, as we mentioned before, and it kind of mirrors some of it, parallels some of American politics. You look at what's going on in Australia and Ireland, some of it parallels America. And then you and I in Paul recently, before I went away on my cruise, my
Mm,
deployment, we talked about how a lot of things are global issues and they've just been localized. And you look at, okay, if every country is dealing with the same issue, maybe globally we can come up with a solution that can be implemented in each country. Obviously, each country has its own sovereignty, and that we don't want to be too internationally involved to a degree. But if we're all dealing with the same issue, I think then we should all come together for it.
mm. There's a, that's a good point. I think there's the common theme is that they all involve people and they all involve groups of people and thinking. And it's small p politics. It's the politic of people getting along, getting to um, aligning or getting together to get some sort of common goal achieved. Um, I hope that Jamaica's less political, big P political now after Melissa, and now that people are just working together to get things back on an even keel. We can always go back to the big P politics in terms of parties and things like that.
Right.
But in the aftermath of a disaster, you would hope that people are essentially not wanting to know where you vote, who you voted for. Unfortunately, the state seems to, or the current
Well, and we've
regime
seen that universally in movies.
does
Like,
that.
think about Independence Day. If you've ever seen that movie with Will Smith, and it's like, oh, an alien threat comes. Now every nation bands together. In the recent Fantastic Four movie, every nation worked seamlessly together to stop, Galactus. So it's always we need some kind of third party threat. In the Watchmen, they framed. I think it was Ozymandias framed Doctor Manhattan when he became a universal quote villain. All the nations worked together. So
Mm,
it's right now a lot of countries see each other as enemies or as just nuisances, and for some reason we won't deem some global issues a global threat, unless it's like an alien creature. But it's like climate changes, I know we talked about that one last time, or it's
mm.
like some of these other issues. So I think it's interesting, like you said, people are so closed in. On a lighthearted note, I once had a Melissa change my political views, but that was quite the experience myself.
Okay. You had a
a,
Melissa.
a
Yeah.
Melissa can do that to you sometimes.
Yes, yes. I mean, you could put air quotes around Melissa. She may not be called
I
Melissa,
didn't
but
name her.
I did. What are your thoughts, Pierre?
No, just quietly listening in. I mean, it'd be awesome if we could all kind of get together and be unified. Will it ever happen? I don't think so.
Mm,
One of the interesting things we have here is that here in the UK, if you look at it this way, the English hate the Welsh hate the English, the Irish hate the English hate the Irish, we hate the Scots hate us, and it's just like but we get together and we kind of like gel and we do things together. It's
mm,
almost like the armed forces.
That's
Uh,
what I was about to say.
the army, like I'm ex-air force. The air force hate the army hate the air force, and we all hate the navy together. We all, and so on and so forth. You know, are you army, or were you a grunt,
No,
or
I'm Navy, so
well, there you go.
they will let you.
We'll forgive
That's
you.
funny. Like, we talked about that. You know, like every branch makes fun of each other, but ultimately we all band together for one mission. Same with the nuclear operators, right? You've got electronics technician, electricians make nuclear operator, machinists make chemists, right? We all make fun of each other. But at the end of the day, we all come together for safe reactor operations. But we make fun of each other. You know, they say the electricians have too many wires crossed. We say the mechanics are just, you know, we're just wrench torquers and whatever else. And, you know, the ETs are just socially unaware of everything. And the
Mm.
chemists, we just accuse them of drinking radioactive coolant all the time for shots. So, you know, I think it's interesting,
They glow
you
in the
know,
dark,
how
right?
those cultures work.
We used to fight like hell. Like we used to go out and after a few drinks and go and have a big punch up in the bar outside the bar afterwards. But that's all fun of it. But saying that as well, I worked on a big project, and I had working for me was a ex submarine commander, right? And he had at the time he had 6 nuclear heads on his submarine, right? So, but he was the best man. Whenever the shit happened, he was always by my side, right? And that's where the unity comes into it. Even after, you know, everything we did and all the deployments we did and everything else, you know, it's amazing how you just kind of stick together, and that's a recognized thing through any of them. I mean, I'm coaching at the moment 2 Army guys. One's just about to retire. One's you know, just looking for a new job. You know, it's just a natural thing to do. You know,
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except we don't like the Navy, so that's what.
You know, it's funny. So I just performed comedy, you know, and we'll watch it next week. I'm getting all the files together for it. It's really cool. So what I did is I communicate with some people and set up my tripod so that the camera angles will change throughout the show. So it looks a lot more
Okay.
professional,
Mhm.
which is super cool. And I'm getting the audio file, but I made fun of the Navy in it. But most people think I'm in the Army for some reason. So it's funny. But the irony of it, if you know me and that I'm in the Navy, then there's a joke within that joke as well, right? That the joke making fun of the Navy was funny on its own, but when you know me personally and know that I'm in the Navy, there's like a second layer of joke there.
Mm.
And what's really cool is, so this is only the 3rd time I've ever performed comedy, you know, quote, professionally in my life. And it was so significantly improved from over a year ago with no comedy practice, just self-development, stage time and confidence, speaking skills. And it was so neat to see me really outperform myself by a huge degree. Like people coming up and saying, what an improvement from last year. And it's like, I've never performed once since last year. It was literally just speaking, confidence, articulation, and other skills.
Mm.
And obviously, you know, it's definitely inspired me to perform more comedy. You know, you get resources from everywhere you go. I'll give you an example. I went to the dentist the other
Watercolor.
day, and it's an all females dentist office, and somehow I ended up there. And you know, the dentist, she comes in after they took 18 X-rays, not 1, not 2, not 3, 18 X-rays, and she goes, "Take this as you will." Whenever a woman says that, it means one of 2 things: either she is flirting with you or she's insulting you. You know, it's like kind of one of those 2. And she goes, "You have really long roots in your mouth." And I was like, "Is that a bad thing?" She goes, "Take it as you do. You've got some long roots under your teeth." And, you know, so I took it as I did. I said, "Well, you know what they say about the long roots." And, you know, but, you know, more importantly, I was like, "Well, thank you for the compliment, but, are there medical concerns? Or are they gonna keep growing? Am I gonna get, like, you know, fangs through the bottom of my
They come
chin?"
out the bottom of your jaw.
Right, like a dinosaur, but she said, "No, I'm just saying you have some nice long roots." And I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
Did you get a number at least?
Well, actually, she then spent 30 minutes inside of my mouth intimately with her fingers. And I had eaten Laffy Taffy and Oreos on purpose, so she'd have to spend longer time. And then when she walked out of the room real quick, I ate a Butterfinger, and she comes back. She's like, "I thought I just cleaned your mouth. I must have missed a spot." And
Yeah.
always good to bring a mate with you to the dentist to call her out of the room so you can put more stuff in your teeth. I mean,
Uh,
some, you know, Steve Wright's talked about dating
you have a
strategies before.
plan. So you have a whole plan
Right,
when you
I
go to
have,
this all
what
female
was the French
dentist.
word you said? I had everything set up.
Mise en place. Mise en
Yeah, I had a
place.
mise en place, yeah. But, it was great. But anyway, so, you know, I'll probably do a comedy skit sometime talking about the dentist because some funny stuff happens at the dentist. And
Yeah.
yeah, but it was a great performance. We'll watch it next week. I couldn't fit Steve's joke into the timeline. So, Steve, I am gonna record a different comedy skit about Japan, and I will be using I thought it was one of my favorite jokes of all time. So
Go on, Steve.
we won't
Tell me
repeat it
mine.
now. No, we won't repeat
Okay,
it now.
I don't remember. I don't even remember it, but because we say some funny stuff all the time. So I'm
Oh
glad,
yeah,
but I'm glad one that it went well. I'm glad number two that it
yeah,
was that you noticed the improvement and other
yeah.
people saw the
I was so
improvement.
stressed too. I was super nervous, but not as nervous as last time. For me, it's more stressful to do it in front of people you know than strangers.
Mm.
Like, yes, it was such a supportive crowd, but I feel like there's a higher bar of expectation in my mind, right? I mean, these are people you know, you want to impress them more than just if it was some drunk guys at a bar, I'll never see them again, hopefully, unless they post me on social media at a couple of nukes. But, there was some comedians who went before me, and one of them kind of forgot his joke and he kind of froze on stage. He had only ever performed once before, and the crowd cheered him on. They were super supportive. And so seeing that kind of helped me relax. And my friend snuck me a milkshake that turns out to have been spiked with root beer 100 shooter. So I felt a lot more relaxed than I intended because she snuck me alcohol
Oh
on my
dear.
way to the performance. And then a few sips in, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This isn't what I thought. I can't fall over on stage now, that unless I was doing a comedy skit about being drunk, and they say this guy's a natural. But it was amazing. I'm so excited to share it with you, Steve. And one of the ladies, Lucinda, beautiful woman, she was from the UK, and her whole comedy bit was just speaking in Cockney and having us try to translate it. So I was hoping to quiz you two British men on some of the words because it really surprised me.
I'd like to hear what Cockney rhyming slang she came up with.
So let me see. She goes, I'm getting ready for a date, and I can't stand my bonnet fair, nor is my boat race made. So I grabbed the dog bone and phoned my china plate. So we can start there if you
Yes.
understood that.
Yeah. Um.
Dog
What?
and bonus phone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Both
dog bone is phone.
phone.
What's the
Yeah.
other one?
Bonnet
Bonnet
fair was the
bonnet
first
fair.
one.
Uh,
Well, Steve, no,
her hair and
someone else gestured
her
to it.
hair and her face.
Yeah,
Boat
boat
race's
race. I
face.
don't know where boat race comes from, but it
Uh,
means face. So
yeah.
that was really interesting. And then
I think
china
it's
plate.
trying to trying to play. She's calling her mate.
Yes, that's exactly right, Steve.
Yeah.
Which I don't
Yeah.
know where. I see.
Yeah.
I don't know the origin of
Her
any of
hair and
these.
face weren't made up, so she called her friend on the phone. She called
Right.
her mate on the phone.
And then she went down the toad and what is it? She went down the frog and toad,
Dog and
which
Toad,
was
the road.
road,
Yeah.
and something. She got there and she had a cup of ruby red, which I think was tea.
Ruby
And
red.
then
Ruby red.
That's wine, isn't it? Ruby red.
it could have been.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
really wide.
some
Yeah.
kind of drink. She had
Cup of
ruby red
ruby
and then
red.
something else. She had wine and tea. I can't remember. And then she said, "You wouldn't Adam and Eve it. My mate was telling pork pies."
Yes.
Would leave it.
Adam and Eve believe
Right.
pork pies lies.
Yes, I don't know why pork pies are lies, but I think my favorite word, just because of modern slang, was she said, "I'm cream crackered,
Knackered.
Knackered.
and then a
Yeah.
bunch of
Frustrated.
the American people were like, "What's knackered?" And I was like, "Tired." And then what was it? That was about it. I mean, most of them were pretty simple, but it
Yeah.
was funny, hearing her say in the accent and stuff. And I thought of you too. And then I shared some words I knew with her, which was gutted, gobsmacked, stuff like that. What's interesting is we were talking about a word that apparently I say in a New Jersey accent. It's the word of what would represent what's behind me here. Another word you could call the ocean, or any body of
Water.
blank.
Go on.
Right. Apparently, I say it WUDDER because I say water.
Water. Yeah.
They say I
You don't
said
water.
WUDDER because I say water.
Yeah.
And people are like, "You're saying water," and I'm like, "Well, what are you supposed to say?" But I have a friend, in Massachusetts, and he says water and
Yeah.
movie theater. He goes, "I gotta get myself a cup of water and some coffee." He
Oh
says it that
dear.
way.
Oh
But
dear.
the cruise overall was great. We went to the British Virgin Islands, which was not a big fan of that place at all. But Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic surprised me quite a bit. It was just it's interesting being on a work cruise, but I got told that I was too serious and too work focused, and that it's a cruise we work on, not a work cruise, and that I needed to relax, and that I guess every table I went to, I talked about people killing themselves or raping or suicide, and so I was told, "Can you talk about anything else?" And so we ended up after my
jumping off
comedy
the
skit.
boat.
Right. So, but we ended up meeting some incredible people. It was interesting to see. And I actually found out something super neat, which was I plan on homeschooling my children. And there are apparently world schooling cruises where homeschooling parents come together to relax and their children get to socialize with other children. So I'm going to look into that. But the coolest part for me personally, well, there's a lot. There was literally just women jumping up into my arms for photo shoots of all ages, from 70 to 40 to all over the place. So it was great.
It's those
I
long
was
roots
one
of
of about
yours.
5 men among 70 women. So I mean, it was they called it the Cougar Cruise, but
Long
some of the younger
roots.
women said they were. All right, I made a joke. I think I'm on the wrong cruise. I came here for suicide prevention, not whatever is happening. But that being said, I got given a challenge coin. So in the military, Steve, if you're not familiar with this, they have challenge coins, which are, it's just like a metal coin, and they have different meanings, and they have different rankings to them. And I went to a veterans networking event, and there was a 3 times Purple Heart recipient from the Vietnam War. And for those who don't know what the Purple Heart is, injured in action. And, it's just a way to recognize those who have sacrificed themselves in their body in the line of service. 3 times recipient, doing amazing work in the world of Purple Heart recognition. A lot of the veterans there were working in suicide prevention, establishing cemeteries and memorials. And, I'd given a speech at the veteran networking event about what I do with military mentorship with suicide prevention stuff. And he actually found me later on the ship and awarded me a challenge coin. So it was the first one I've gotten post service. And it meant a lot to me to be recognized in that way, just based off of what I said I was doing. And we had a great conversation about Vietnam. And there were Vietnam veterans there trained by World War II soldiers. So I'm talking about, these are some older folks who did years of service. Some of these people were in for over 30 years. So to me, that was the most powerful conversation I had, was actually networking outside of the work group and going to a veterans event. I had missed the one on the previous cruise. Every cruise has a military get together. So next cruise I go on, I'm definitely going to continue to do the same.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So yeah, we have to do another show about all those cougars running around the ship running around the boat after you.
It's funny, Steve, because I said if I was a young
I can't Adam and
woman,
Eve it.
right? I said, what though? It's interesting. Everyone assumes because I'm a young man that I'm comfortable with all the attention, right? But if I was a young woman in my 20s with 70 guys in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and I was just grabbing, they were just grabbing my arm, or jumping onto me, or calling me a cutie pie and rubbing my face, and whatever else that happened on the cruise, it would be a totally different story. So
we call those toy boys here.
You call them what?
We call them toy boys here.
So I heard someone told me that they said, Captain Whiskey, because I've been on the ocean. They said, Captain Whiskey, if you wanted, there are cruise lines that hire young, good-looking guys who know how to dance to just go on the cruise, paid for, to dance with the single ladies, so that they don't say this cruise line sucked, this cruise sucked. There was no men who knew how to dance, because a lot of men, especially my generation below, aren't into dancing. I'm not into dancing. I get voluntold often. And there's a very embarrassing video of me now trying to do the worm. But counter argument, I almost did a.
Oh, he's gone. He cut it off deliberately, so he didn't have to tell us the story. Cut.
I'm going to leave him in the green room a little bit. He's talking. I think he's still talking in the green room for some reason. Wow.
Connection got lost right as I was going to say.
Yeah, right.
I was doing almost a completely full split, leg sideways, in a suit on the dance floor. In fact, let me pull up the video. if I might. And
I hope
you
this is
know,
going to go viral.
I hope so too.
I thought of Steve Wright actually when I was doing the split because of well, that sounds weird, but because of
It does
the
definitely
jump
sound
roping and the
weird.
flexibility. So let's see if you can see this. Hold on. Let me figure
Oh,
this out. Let me figure this
oh,
out. Let me
yeah.
figure this out. I got you. Oh man, let's see if you
There it
can.
Yeah, I
is.
can see it. Don't move, don't move.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, I
whoa.
tried. I couldn't get any lower because my boots. I would have broken my
Ah,
ankle.
dude, that is pretty low.
And then we got. I had never done the worm before, and as you can see, I still have not done the worm
It's a
successfully.
push up.
Well, so it's a push up. My legs moved. I need to move my legs together like a dolphin, but I did not manage to do that.
Well,
But
I
it's
appreciate.
okay because everyone who said, "That's not how you do the worm," I said, "Then please show me." And none of them. No. Oh, if I was 20 years younger, or if I was a man, or if I had the upper body. So I don't like Andrew Tate necessarily, but he has a saying, "What color is your Bugatti?" And that's how I felt. Okay, where's your worm? You're gonna criticize my worm. Where's your
Where's
worm?
your
When I was in the military, people would make fun of me because I drove a minivan. It was my first car. I bought a used car, and I moved 7 times in 4 years. So it served its purpose, which was moving. But all the men who made fun of me in the military, most of them had no driver's license or no car. So I said, "What color is your minivan?" "Oh, well, I don't have one." Exactly. You have no vehicle and no license, and you can't drive. So what are you saying to me? But it's okay because hate almost always comes from people below you or who don't have what you have. I found that with social media. The people who say, "Mr. Whiskey, you should stick to milking cow udders instead of singing." Then you go onto their SoundCloud or their Spotify and listen to them singing. And it says, "Oh, well, perhaps you should come join me and I can show you how to milk the cow udders." I've never had like an actually talented singer diss me because they'll say, "Hey, I see what you're struggling with. Let me help you out. I was there once." See,
Mm,
people who are actually successful typically have a mentorship mindset, unless they're just a jerk off. So
good
most of the
point.
trolls online are actually losers. They sit at home. They have an anime girl profile picture and a fake name. It's true, Steve.
You're on fire today, Phantom
Yes,
Whiskey.
yes.
I just came from the equator. What did you expect that I was? But it was a great time. It was I think I relaxed for a total of 5 minutes, and the rest of the trip, I was just stressed out and networking and working. So I'm booking a post-cruise cruise to actually relax, no
Yes.
work, just relax. And I might take you with me, Steve. They're doing buy one, bring 2 friends free.
Oh wow,
So,
me and whiskey
yeah.
shot.
Yes, oh, trust me, if I could have brought her, it would have been a party, but it was great.
Oh yeah,
So
man.
you and I got to get together, and I invited everyone to the virtual water cooler, not this week because I wanted to share about the cruise, but I'm gonna slowly start bringing them on, especially the British women.
There we go.
That way I can just sit back and try to translate what y'all are saying to each other
What
in
y'all are
your
saying.
tongue.
Nah, that's so good. I mean, yeah, there's take major takeaways there just in terms
Right.
of the development. You've gone year on year, so you've seen how things have changed. And I like the point that you're comparing yourself to yourself. You're comparing yourself to your former self rather than trying to go out there and compare to
Right. It wasn't
someone at
even
an
me.
objective
People pulled me
standard.
aside and said, "Mr. Whiskey, you have grown and changed so much as a person in the past year." And it was really nice. A lot of them said, "Then we're not saying this to say you weren't, a good person, a talented person, but the growth is phenomenal." And it's really just been I told you know what I told them, Steve? I said it's all because of Saul Wright coaching. If it wasn't for him in my life, I would have never grown as a person.
We
And I
we
said, in
we've been
fact, I
friends for a
have
while now. We've been connected over a year. So I mean even just yeah,
and
there's
you didn't notice
definitely
what else
growth.
changed on the cruise.
Oh, you took it down, you baby face.
Basically, it was not serving its purpose. Its purpose was to look older, and every cougar on the cruise said, "Mr. Whiskey, you still look 12." And so I said, "Well, how do I feel about the mustache and beard?" I said, "Well, I don't really like it necessarily. I liked it because I personally felt older and looked older to myself. But if everyone else still perceived me as young, and then it started going into my mouth, and then people said I kept playing with it or I kept touching it, so I decided to get rid of it. And then as soon as I got rid of it, women were grabbing my face. "Oh, you're such a cutie wootie. Look at you, smooth face, such a young, crimson lad." And So I said, okay, I guess we'll just get rid of it. I said, Steve is going to be disappointed. We were almost matching there, but you
It's all
know
good.
what? You rock the goatee and the little beard, and I'll just keep this until until I'm 12, until I'm as many 12-week years old as you are.
You are. Well, like you said, if it serves its purpose, keep it. If it doesn't,
It did
then
not
you
serve its
can
purpose. It was making my face itchy.
you can drop it. It'll cut. There'll be another season. There'll be another season. You'll be in your
Season
third.
9 of Couple of Nukes. I'm gonna
You'll
bring it
be
back.
you'll be in your 30s doing Movember. And then
What
no
is that?
shave,
That's like the
no
No
shave.
Shave November.
Yeah, no shave November, and then you'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna go
And
this
that's a
thing out.
Brit thing, though. Not a. I don't know if it's a global thing, Steve.
We do No Shave November. I know
Yeah.
at least the police force here in some places do it, which is cool because normally they have to keep a certain facial standard. The military doesn't do it. There's a lot of drama in the news all the time about beards and military members and some recent law changes. And for me, it's so ridiculous. I think it's interesting that the military views it as beards are disorderly and show a lack of discipline, but really societally beards are a sign of masculinity typically. Like they're really associated with masculinity. And I think first of all, the enemy doesn't care if we have a beard or not. I'm gonna put it out straight. These people who are radically religious and are wearing suicide vests, they couldn't care less if anyone in the front lines had a beard or not. They really don't care. Same with the hands on the tattoos on the hands. You're not allowed to have tattoos on the hands in most branches. At the end of the day, I don't think it has anything to do with a lack of discipline. And I don't think the enemy cares less. I'll tell you what, if I was in a foxhole with shrapnel in my abdomen, right where the six pack is, if I had metal shards there and a guy reached out to pull me out, and I'm not gonna be like, oh dude, you have tattoos on your hands. Like bring the next one. Someone else can save me. It doesn't matter. It's this. I think it's a very foolish mindset of tattoos and beards are reflective of discipline. I don't think that's true at all. I'd be more scared if a bunch of guys with beards and mustaches charged at me than a bunch of guys that look like high schoolers, me personally. So I think it's just the military mindset around it is ridiculous. And I know that, like I said, the police force, some places they'll do the No Shave November, and you'll see police officers actually growing stuff out of regulation, but that's about it.
And yeah, I don't even know. We don't do it here in the UK, do we? Is it the UK? It may have come. It may have It may
But
have
no
been.
shave in
Yeah,
November.
yeah.
No, they used to. They haven't done it for a while. They haven't done it this year.
Okay.
But they did it last year.
Here's to raise money. I believe the
Yes,
police have to
prostate.
pay to
Yeah,
grow
prostate.
out the beard, and then they donate the money to
I
something.
think it's prostate cancer, or it's
Yeah, something like
usually
that.
men's. Yeah, yeah. I remember it from the States, so more so than from here. But yeah. I mean,
Speaking of November, after November is December, and I want to remind everyone of the challenge I have going on, which is from now until December 1st, I am accepting submissions of a new Couple of Nukes logo to celebrate the 3-year anniversary on December 3rd. I've already had some artists turn in their renditions. Steve, Pierre, I'd love for you to compete. You don't have to be an artist. You could make it digitally, hand-drawn. And the idea is people are just making their interpretation of the Couple of Nukes logo based off me or the show's topics, or they're combining their own branding with my show's branding. I'll be tagging all the creators in an episode where I review the images. I was inspired by, I believe it was New Zealand did hey, we're changing the flag. Everyone in the country submit your design and we're going to vote on it. And I said, to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of my podcast, why not do it where people send in their own logo? I can cross promote everyone. It'd be cool to look at people's different interpretations and see what's going on with that. All skill levels accepted. So
I'm sure it's got a cowboy hat in it.
So it's interesting how people interpret stuff. So my favorite one so far is actually it's like as if there was a bunch of birds flying, but they're nuclear weapons, and it's me and my dog riding on one like woo. So it's a Couple of Nukes, but I've had some interesting ones. With most of them have a cowboy hat, but it doesn't have to have me in it. You can make a podcast logo based off just the elements of the show, whether you lean into the nautical Navy aspect, if you lean into the suicide prevention dark subjects aspect, if you want to just make your own logo and branding style and it says couple of nukes, I really don't care what they look like, because the whole point is just to see what people allow their own creative selves to be. You could make a Jamaican couple of nukes podcast
Making me
logo.
crazy.
You're right. You're when you nuke things out, you make me crazy. Yeah, something like that. And so I'm just excited. People have been submitting different designs, and it's interesting to see their different interpretations of me or the show. And I'm just excited to review all of them. And the thing right now is just getting more and more. And I work with a lot of artists. A lot of podcasters are also artists, and so seeing them put their personal style. Some of them use very bright colors. Some of them are very abstract. Super excited to see Adina Wright Designs version of the logo. So awesome stuff going on.
dropping my daughter's graphic design business into the mix there. I tell you that
Right.
Whiskey
Dropping in
never
at the
misses.
drop-in event.
He
as I
never
said.
misses an opportunity. Pierre, what you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've literally got a couple of minutes and then I
Yeah,
have to drop
yeah.
off. I've got to be off by heart. I've got a hard stop.
All
What
right.
am I doing? I'm doing promoting a consultancy business. I'm growing an AI consultancy. I'm also writing a lot of articles for LinkedIn, and that's about it, really. And
Wow.
so keep myself mega busy.
There you go. There you go. That's it. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
Have you heard of have you come across the term mise en place?
Yes.
In terms of putting things.
Guys,
into
listen,
place.
I'm really sorry. I got to jump ship, but I've got
You gotta jump.
3 minutes. So I'm going to jump. So at
Oh.
15:15, I've actually got to hide up.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, you seem to be quite the active person there.
Me or Steve?
Yeah.
Steve Wright jumps ropes almost every day, so he's pretty active.
Steve's just cool, middle of the road. He's on there all the time.
Right.
But yeah, because I mean, the last
The
time I
Frog and
saw
Toad.
you were, I think you were doing some health, keep fit, exercising. You're doing a lot of running. And
I
you
was
had
doing a
weight
mock
on
special
there.
forces mission, and then I went from the
yeah.
mock special forces mission to Arizona for domestic violence and sexual assault prevention, and then I went to a cruise, and also all over Hill and Dale. I've applied to give a couple talks this year, different TEDx talks and different stuff. But this next two, like leading up to Thanksgiving, I don't want to leave the home except to walk my dog. And now it's 30 degrees out Fahrenheit. I don't want to leave the home at all. But it is catching up on. I've put a lot of my own personal projects aside to collaborate and to do a lot of stuff, and I just need to have a little me time. And I thought the cruise was going to be me time, but then every corner I turn around, Mr. Whiskey, there he is. And it's like, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love the attention, but it was also like, I couldn't even suntan for 5 minutes. Every time I slipped away to go suntan, it started raining. I was like, God, whose side are you on? I thought we were cool for the most part. But
Pierre, thanks for dropping in, buddy. I
Sorry?
appreciate you. Yeah, come in. Yeah,
quick one.
you're
I gotta
always
go, guys.
welcome. Always
See you
welcome.
later.
Let's catch you again.
Okay. Bye.
All right, take care. So you tan yourself, do you, Mr. Whiskey? Gosh.
well, I didn't. You can see I'm not as Steve Wright, as I wanted to be, because I didn't. I spent most of the time inside the cruise ship, and we didn't have like the most tan I got was on the catamaran. I decided to take my shirt off, which was a big struggle for me. I wanted to have gained 30 pounds between last cruise and this one, and I did not do that. And it was fine. Everyone was like, "Oh," everyone kept referring to me as a half naked man. But it was fine. It's just, for me, it wasn't even about like what did other people think about me, so much to the degree of I'm not happy with where my body was. And everyone was like, cool tattoos, and your arms are nice and toned, and stop saying you're fat, because I was complaining about the sugar pocket below my abs. But they're like, we've seen you on Instagram, but I really wanted to have gained 30 pounds between last cruise and this one. I wanted to look at the pictures between the 2 years and not even recognize. People were like, what happened? Who hurt you? And that didn't happen. Yes, I am about between 5 and 10 pounds heavier than last year, but that's 1/3 of my goal. So now I'm really we're really trying to lock in with the fitness. And my whole thing was, I said post cruise, because everyone had to declare what they wanted their biggest thing to be post cruise. I said, making a schedule and a budget to maximize the efficiency of my life, to make sure I get to the gym every day, but I'm still able to do all my podcasting. I'm going into college now again, all this
Mm,
different stuff. So really setting up and streamlining my work. Right now, I have 100 different projects in 100 different directions. So
yeah.
I want to streamline it. Maybe I'll do that through a 12-week year come 2026,
Here
courtesy
you
of Steve
go.
Wright. He didn't
There you
write the
go.
book, but he promoted it. And then yeah, just I mean, really streamlining the workflow because I've got so much going on, and I want to give each project the proper amount of attention and really have it be successful. And
Hmm.
so that was that. Yesterday was no relaxation either. I got back home yesterday and then spent the entire day going from restaurant to restaurant for Veterans Day, maximizing free meals and food. And now my fridge is stocked for a week. But that was kind of exhausting. I had to spend hours yesterday just driving from one place to the next. So
Go.
now I have a fever, a runny nose, but I'm
Well,
gonna
listen to
relax
you.
by
List.
listening to the One on One Thing podcast as I do my dishes and my house chores. I'm gonna put on my favorite podcast, the One on One Thing with Steve Wright, and catch up with my dog. She was so absolutely excited to see me, and it's her
Mm,
birthday coming up here soon. So we'll see
very
if it lines up
nice.
on a virtual water cooler. We'll have to just have a virtual party for her.
Well, whatever. Well, anytime whiskey shot shows up on
You
the
already know where she is. She's right here.
she's right
Woo.
there. she's always she's always just out of shot. I like
I
that.
keep my dog
Close.
mezzo phallic, whatever you said. That's
Mise
French.
en place.
She is mise en
Everything
place
in
for
place.
display. And now that you've taught me that word, Steve, right, I'm gonna have to go watch a whole bunch of Gordon Ramsay content to see if he ever said that word because I'm
No,
very
don't.
curious if he said it.
No, there is a I can share. I can. There is a chef. I think his site is called Chef Authorized. Chef Authorized. I think it is. And he there's a very interesting YouTube video he does about the importance of. He's very high energy, almost ADHD. Wants things just so everything's squared off on the plate
Right.
on the in the station. And while it applies to a commercial kitchen, um, not all you don't have to be that sort of on point in your own kitchen, but at the same time there's an element that says when you've got that sort of clarity because things are in its place, um you free up cognitive load, you free up
Right.
your creativity to be involved in designing the recipe without having to think about have I measured out the ingredients properly,
Mhm.
is the ingredient do I have all the ingredients in the first place. If you're literally going to the cupboard for every ingredient as you cook, you're creating load because you're going to find it, measure it, apply it, put it away.
Wasting
Or
time. Now stuff is burning.
it's yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, and the thing wasting time is I think wasting that concept of wasting time is something that I struggle with, um, because I could sometimes look at planning as a waste of time rather than performing. And in actual fact,
It's a proportion. Is the time you're taking to plan less than the time you'll save if you plan? But if the planning takes more time than the time you're saving, then it's just a waste of time.
I don't. Well, there's other qualities of resource than time. If if taking a certain amount of time saves you money, for example, or if taking a certain amount of time improves the outcome, for
Mhm.
example, there are other factors between planning and performing. Let's use food, for example. Okay, if I'm making scrambled eggs, which I haven't made for 7 years since I'm been a vegan, but let's say scrambled eggs. You got, I mean, I leave salt, pepper, and a couple of eggs.
And
It's
cheese and
top
M&Ms if you make it the way I
okay.
make it.
Cheese.
Oh,
So
I
what?
was thinking of omelet. Sorry, I put M&Ms in omelets, not scrambled eggs. So let's
o-
detract that. But the
Okay.
cheese, yes.
Okay. So you got salt, pepper, cheese, egg. Now the thing is, you might have to plan. You might have to plan the skillet. You might have to make sure that the range is ready. You might have to make sure that the skillet is clean. Um, so there's things ahead of the dish that you have to think
Mhm.
about. If there's short things to think about, that's not a problem. If you don't have a skillet, you might have to get one, or you might have to cook it a different way. You've got
From
to
the
make sure
engine of
you've
your
got.
car, you can cook eggs using the engine of your car after you drive a set amount of time. I've seen it on extreme cheapsteaks. They cook only on their car. But I want to share a phrase with you, Steve, that you've reminded me of. We had a military instructor, and he emphasized this all the time. First time quality impression. Take the time to get it all done correctly, because if you rush it and then have to redo it, you've then wasted more time. And in the military, that can mean now you're staying after hours to complete something that could have
Mhm.
been done hours ago because you were trying to rush to get home, and now you just lost 4 more hours of free time.
Right.
So I've always tried to keep that in the back of my mind. First time quality impression.
Hmm.
Do everything so that you get it done right the first time and you don't have to do it again,
Right.
because that is a big waste of time and money.
Right. And that's fair too. That first time quality impression may require you to go slower rather than faster to get it completed the first time.
We
So
don't see it that way. We
yeah,
say, I love this saying, slow is smooth, smooth is
smooth as
fast.
fast. Yeah.
So they talk about that when you're like mooring a ship and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
during boot camp, you'll hear that
Yeah.
a lot. And I
Yeah.
actually grew to really love that saying.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Because you can be fast and all over the place, and
Yes.
then now you got to redo it. So
Yeah.
slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Fast. Yeah.
And you can apply that to your love life as well and see the results.
With those long roots of you.
With the long roots. Yes, Steve.
So
Yes,
we've got we've got quite a few sayings that have come out there, but I don't want people to be I don't I, there's a triteness to it where you just sort of say, yeah, everything in its place, and that's it. But there's sometimes that there are some rough edges to a process, and like you just said,
Mhm.
slow is smooth. If if increasing the speed makes it rough, then you actually then break you break the saying now, because if slow is smooth and fast is rough, then and if smooth is fast, then rough is slow. So basically, you're rushing through.
I think you're just nuking it out now. You just made a cycle. You made a inadvertent
Well, it's the opposite.
self-propelled cycle there.
Yes, it's the oh, well, it's the count. It's the opposite of the thing that we just said. So
Right. And
what
is
happens
today opposite day?
is today
Because
opposite.
then everything would be opposite of what we just said.
All right. Well, I don't know today's opposite day. I don't know where you threw that one in. but but the point is that when you're harried and you rush, like you you rush over to the fridge, you get the eggs out, you rush over to the countertop, you drop the egg, all right,
Mhm.
yeah, and then all of a sudden now you got to clean up an egg and get another one because you were rushing. If you just took
But
your
then you
time,
slip on that egg and drop all of them. Now
boom.
you gotta go to the store and buy eggs, and they're like $13 an egg nowadays. So now you've
They're
wasted,
cheaper now.
hundred
Eggs have
thousand
never been
pounds.
cheaper in America. You
But
got
what I was gonna say is, can you teach me that French word again? It's not sticking in my head for
it's
some reason.
I've got it behind me on my
Put it in the
on
chat.
my board
Oh,
here. It's there.
miss mise in place. Oh, miss in
Mise
place.
mise
Oh,
en
mise en
place.
place.
Mise
Mise en place.
en place. You got to say it with a French accent. Mise en
Mise en
place.
place. Okay,
Mise en
I
place.
don't do French accents.
And you got to do the hand as well, I guess, because every time you do French, you do a
Well,
hand.
because
Right?
I'm
Mise en.
Italian. Well,
Right.
no. So I did two accents in my comedy skit. Quote. I don't know if I did accents. I spoke Japanese, and then
Oh,
people some people might think that I was pretending to be black, and some people might say, no, he's just being white. But it depends how you do it. Um, I wasn't trying to necessarily. So I recreated a scene, a church scene, but all the pastors I listen to the most are black pastors, and
Mm,
so the dialect I was using, the way I was acting, people may have thought that I was pretending to be black, but I happened to go to all those churches, so I mean, I wasn't trying to, make fun of any it was just pastorhood in general.
mm.
But I was worried, so at one point I say, Kodoredo, which means code red in Japanese, right? People don't know, but if you didn't know that code red is Kodoredo, you would think that I was just saying code red in like a racist accent. But there's a whole video out there actually I found. There's a whole list of Japanese words that are just English words with like a Japanese accent. It's just like the way
Oh,
they're
okay.
spelled and said. So I was worried that I was like, is the crowd gonna think I'm like trying to just like speak quote English? Because I'm not. I am these are actual Japanese words that just happen to sound exactly like if I was speaking English with an accent.
Mm,
But it's all good. Everyone I don't think people didn't even know what I was saying because I was speaking Japanese.
there you go.
But that in itself, there's a couple of secret references if you translated it, other jokes that people didn't get. So I put little Easter eggs in my comedy skit. And
Mm,
I was thinking of you a lot during it, Steve. I think of you pretty often because I believe it was Gates Law. I really underestimated what I could do in 3 minutes and overestimated what I could do in 5 minutes, I suppose.
mhm.
And what I mean by that is originally what I was trying to do. I practiced it like a few times before I went there. Right, I thought of it pretty fresh. Right, I don't like to make it a year in advance. Right, I make stuff up on the spot.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes I made up on the spot, and it came out to about 5 minutes, and it kind of was like my thing is I'm so used to watching comedians who have their own special, so 15 to 30 minutes, sometimes an
Yeah.
hour, and they can build upon jokes, go back to jokes, build upon jokes, go back to jokes. In 3 minutes, you can't really do that,
Yeah.
and in 5 minutes, you can't do that, and I had overestimated the ability to circle back and connect things at 5 minutes and underestimated 3 minutes, so I ended up when I cut out back down to 3 minutes and put more of an emphasis and attention on the jokes within the 3 minutes, I found it to be very successful, so
Mm.
I think but the 3 minutes window is just so difficult. I was like, whoever invented stand-up comedy, you should have done 5 minutes. I don't know why you did 3, but I guess it's to prevent the people not as funny as me from just rambling on for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like the I don't know where people got the idea that meetings have to have to be on the hour, bottom of the hour. I mean, I roughly keep to that in this format. I try not to, we're coming up to the bottom of the first hour, so I'm mindful of that just in terms
Imani,
of
can you bring me a tissue?
just in terms of a window. But no one says a meeting has to run for
Right.
30 minutes or a meeting has to run for 1 hour for one
But in
hour.
your world, an hour, I mean, let's see, if a year is 12 weeks, what would an hour be? I'm not gonna do the math like a nuclear operator, but,
Yeah,
an
an hour
hour
would be
is, like, probably,
five
like, 10
minutes.
hours for you.
And that, well, yeah, I guess it depends how you're multiplying it up. And an hour would be equivalent of a work day or
Okay, so
something like
if
that.
one hold on, 12 weeks
So
equal 1
let's
year.
not do that.
So
You've only got 3 minutes to make a
well, hold on, I got a
comedic
calculator. No,
to
it's
to make a comedic impression. So
right.
I'm definitely excited to see the fruits of your creative comedic endeavor. But yeah, mise
Yeah,
en place. I'm gonna
mise en place.
I'm gonna wrap us up here. Mise en place. Oh, thanks, Will, for saying hi. I'm sorry I didn't catch your note
Will
earlier, but
Otero,
always good,
Real
always good
Wise
to have you.
Productions. Great,
Always good
great
to
stuff. Check it out.
yes, yeah,
Looking
and
forward to that in-person event that Steve Wright foreshadowed a couple weeks ago, so
oh,
I don't know
okay.
anything about it. You said that Will Otero might host an in-person event in New York, and you might fly there, and then I said, "Well, I guess I'm going to New York to see
Oh,
Steve Wright."
I,
I
I
don't know
you
the
know you
logistics of it, but
putting me on the spot there. I'm not going anywhere before Jamaica. So we'll see. 2026, we'll see what happens. But yes, Will is having an event. Um, and it's shaping up to be an exciting one. So that's going to be fun. Um, and also just the media, the media empire that
You're gonna
He's
come
ready.
rocking up to the nines, get some nice photos. Are you gonna jump into my arms too, Steve? Because I could carry you around if
Check
you
out your
wanted.
roots, mate. Check out your roots.
But on the note of mise en place, I'll say this: it's like if you went to use the restroom and toilet paper was not within arm's reach. Right? I mean, you want your bathroom set up for success, and your kitchen's the same way, and so is your life. You don't want to go through life without toilet paper. And I'm putting that on a t-shirt. Actually, Steve, are you interested in a t-shirt? I'm making a series of t-shirts. So I made a friend on the cruise, and her and I were traveling around. And I guess I said we were going one way, we got turned around. And a ship is forward, aft, port, and starboard,
Mhm.
correct? And so we came up with this joke about people getting lost on a ship or giving wrong directions. She called me a professional aft hole. Because I had said to go aft, but we needed to go
Go
forward or vice
forward.
versa. And so I might make like some couple of Nukes Navy t-shirts that's like professional aft hole, and then it
Aft hole.
has forward, aft, and starboard, like a ship diagram on it,
Yeah.
so people don't think I just because I don't swear, I
Cuss.
don't curse, and then that's kind of in the gray area for me. But it's pretty funny, especially as a sailor.
There you go.
So if you want one, I will send you one as well. Or I could get it on a hat for you, whatever you want.
There you go. Or get me a sticker, or get the graphic out, and I'll oh, we lost
Oh, see, you're gonna leave your own event? Like,
it just say we lost connection for a second, but we're back. No, that's cool. Yeah, mise en place, toilet paper in reach. That's an interesting take on on everything being
or
in its
or or
place.
the wipes if you're more of a white
The
person,
white,
the wet wipes, flush safe preferably.
there you go. But all this, but I don't know. I can't I can't keep on task. I can't keep on task when I'm derailed by the analogy of a bathroom setting.
Oh, so I'm if symbolically, emotionally, and mentally you have a mise en place set up, I kind of come in and rearrange stuff, and you're like, "Where's the skillet I was about to use? Where'd the eggs go?" And I'm over here juggling the eggs, and you're like, "Captain Whiskey, what do you do? I need to cook those eggs." And then I'm like, "But if you cook the eggs, how can you then juggle? And what's more important, juggling or cooking?" So that's kind of like mentally the
Mm.
mise en place relationship we have.
You're working
If
too
you're if
hard.
you're if you're tracking what I'm putting, if you're picking up and sniffing what I'm putting down and
You should put it down
understanding.
again.
Right.
And put it down in the right place. Yeah, the analogy is that I'm setting up a kitchen and you just taking me to the bathroom, and
Don't say that, Steve. I did not.
and,
Why are we
and the
going to the
things
bathroom together? I mean, I
you
understand
just
battle buddy.
you
I understand the battle buddy
in
concept,
terms
but we're
of
not on deployment. I
in
mean,
terms of
sometimes a trip to the bathroom can feel like a deployment. It can feel like a combat zone. There can be shrapnel. I mean, it happens to the best of us, but stay hard.
where that come from. Anyway,
Where
on
did it
that
go?
note, I will visit this again in a more professional coaching vein, because that's where I was trying to take it.
Well,
But
Paul wasn't here to balance us. Paul is,
I
I
know.
think Paul may have, frozen on because he was sitting around in a tank top and now it's 30 degrees and he might be in a block of ice for all we know.
He needs to get
So
his
I might
arms
have to drive
covered.
down there and warm him up
So-
in with I meant like with a heating pack or something, but not with my body heat.
But well, welcome back. Good to see you as always.
Great to be back.
Give my best to Whiskey and your good lady. And for those dropping in or watching the replay, this is the water cooler event. We have don't let don't let don't let this guy dissuade you from joining us. All right. I mean, he can
Well,
be a
I
little
always
bit.
encourage it. I
He
plug it
can.
everywhere I go.
He can, he can be.
Oh,
He
here
can be.
we can actually turn and look at each
That's
other.
right. Yeah, we can actually like just like this and just talk to
Right,
each
we can
other.
act like we're in
Be
the
great.
same room,
Yeah.
and I just
There you go.
yeah.
There you go. But yeah, this is the spot. I had a great chat with Barrington last week. Thank you again for dropping in and taking the time to share, Barrington. Really powerful discussions around just how we show up as men, and things going on in our lives, and certainly channeling a lot of whiskey's work in that space in terms of giving people a safe space and
How
having
I
that
act on
wellness.
the drop-in event is what people wanted me to do on the cruise ship, which was just relax and have a good time. And then all the conversations I had on the cruise ship, I needed to bring to the drop-in event.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I think there's definitely space um for an organic conversation. Um, there's sometimes that things are on my heart, and I might steer a little bit, like this one, mise en place, and clear to neutral, where things just top of my mind, but the stories go wherever they go, and I appreciate that. Some people go, well, I'm not going to spend my time on something that I don't know what it's for, and I
Mm,
get that too, because that's people making those judgments. But for me, this space is literally a virtual water cooler. If you were in a
right. I don't
setting
have
where
any water I can drink, but I do have some
Elmer,
clear glue that looks like water. So
don't be doing
I
that.
oh, Steve, wait, I did have an important question to ask you actually.
Sure.
There was a debate amongst the British people on my ship about what tea time actually means in reference to supper, dinner, or a midday snack or something. Like there was a disagreement about what tea time actually was.
Hmm.
And I mean, you're my go-to British resources expert. So what is tea time to you?
It depends. For me, it depends on how you're saying it.
Mm,
If you're saying, if you're calling kids, and it depends on the way you say it and where you are in the country to some degree in terms of
wow.
how
Okay.
what it means. So calling kids in for their tea tends to be a after school, early evening dinner, supper. So that may not even involve the actual tea itself. Um, time if it time for tea, can you make time for tea? Then that could literally be time for a drink, and it could be something as light as a
Ruby
drink
Red.
and a drink and a sandwich or biscuits or something. Um, the time that that meal shows up, typically it's any time from the afternoon to evening, and that really just depends on where you are and what's going on in the day. Um, Cup of tea is any time of the day, and you might just think if it's just the drink itself, that may lead itself to more lunchtime and earlier, a
Mm.
morning. You start your day off with a cuppa. So
Well, they
uh,
were debating even the difference between dinner and supper, saying supper was a certain time of the evening and dinner was earlier or vice versa. So,
mm,
not many people say supper in my personal experience.
yeah,
Most people I've heard it are from an older generation.
hmm,
Most people just say dinner.
yeah.
But
And dinner could be because we had school dinners. So
mm,
when you have school dinners, that's a lunchtime meal. So you could, if you're from that age, from that genre generation, the term dinner preceded with school is a lunchtime. So uh, if someone asks me in the morning if have I had dinner yet, I'm assuming, or if someone said what am I having for dinner, I would always imply that's an evening meal as opposed to
correct.
a
Right.
lunchtime meal. So you'd say lunch
Okay.
as a
Well,
grown up.
unless you're having dinner, which is between lunch and dinner.
No, we don't do dinner.
Oh, well, I mean,
Brunch made it from breakfast to lunch, but I've never heard
you
dinner.
never heard of dinner?
No, unless you just made that up.
No, I won't take credit for it. I am a creative genius, but I think that dinner has something I've heard before. It's just between lunch and dinner, but most people will just say a late lunch or an early dinner. They won't say
Right.
dinner,
Yes.
but you can say dinner. You can
You
be
can say dinner.
different. I don't
You
like
can
that word. It sounds weird. It sounds wrong. I
you
just
can
say
say
late lunch
dinner.
or early dinner.
Yes. I'm not
But
saying
brunch
dinner.
sounds acceptable. Brunch is acceptable.
Brunch, yes, and I think that's been driven by the catering industry. They needed something to kind of
Right. Or Sunday brunch after church. I think a lot
yes.
of women's brunch in Savannah, Georgia on Sundays have driven that kind of culture.
Yeah. So
But bottom line, if you're gonna have a cup of tea today, you ought to do it while checking out the Managers Who Lead Facebook group, where there's a ton of valuable resources for you to look into.
actually, I'm going to call, and on that note, I'm going to call out, call out a member, John Cook. Started, and I will, John. I will reach out to you. I do owe you a follow up on your very your fascinating community that you started called Honest Men, and I think it can strike a chord, and I've enjoyed some of the content there already, and some of the people that are showing up in that space. So thanks for inviting me, and yeah, let's have a chat about where what your goals are for that group and where you see it going. But yeah, honest men is a great title. Not that men are dishonest, it's just sort of pulling back that veneer a little bit. So it's very important in men's health, mental health space. So
You should connect in with Andrew Michael Holton from the Extraordinary Men's Network
yes,
if you haven't
yeah,
already.
yeah, absolutely. Mr. Whiskey, Captain Whiskey,
Slow is smooth,
Admiral.
smooth is
You're going to be
fast.
Admiral Whiskey next week.
Yeah, I wouldn't say not next week. We'll give it the promotion cycle needs some time to grow.
There's
But
some time, right? It's gone from Mr. to Captain, so I appreciate that. Always a pleasure. I love that backdrop picture. I'm looking forward to some more content.
one of these days, I'm just gonna have it's gonna be a bunch of embarrassing screenshots of you from virtual calls, and it's gonna be my like Steve
Oh,
Wright appreciation background.
oh, there we go. There
All
we
the
go.
best angles, you know.
All right, then. On that note, I'm going to call it. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for hanging out today, Captain. Get the place sorted. Get yourself ready for all those
Um,
major tasks you got going on.
because of the fever, I actually already had a cup of tea, hot orange tea. I've got apricot, lime, lemon. I've got the whole every fruit you could imagine. I have a version of tea for it. So
Nice,
today will
nice.
be my cup of tea day. Cup of tea, cup of tea. So
A couple OT. So you got more
yes, a
than
couple
one.
of tea
Couple
with the
OTs.
S in the parentheses.
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
All right. Well, Coach, right? Great to see you, and
Right.
we'll catch you next week.
All right. Take care, buddy. All the best. Thanks, everyone.